All right, and we are live for the 2018 TSL World Cup Draw. As you can see on the screen there, we have the 8 teams for Europe, 4 teams for Americas, and then the 4 for Africa, Asia. So how we'll do this is we'll just go through kind of group by group. We'll draw all the 8 European teams. After that, move on to the Americas, and then lastly, the Africa-Asia grouping. Along the way, we'll probably throw in a few little tidbits from stuff that happened throughout qualifying stages. And got a couple interviews lined up as well. So before we begin, joining me as co-host will be UCAN, aka Bobby. So welcome aboard.
What's going on, guys?
So before we begin this draw, you're in it as Uruguay. Any sort of teams you're looking maybe to avoid or anything you're looking forward to here?
I would prefer to not be in any group with Russia or Korea, or even Iran. So,
well, let's see what happens. Can't guarantee anything yet, but I will check.
Well, the PayPal transfer went through, so let's.
All right, so as you can see here, already randomized just kind of how different pot placements will be in each group. Again, it's just kind of randomized who plays who first. That's pretty much it. So we'll go ahead and start off with the European region. And so let's start going through it. So in Group A, we have Italy, the Docker 05.
Seba making his first appearance in the TSL World Cup.
In Group B, we have Portugal, Shuda 66. Probably checking in on the LeBron news right now.
I think he's actually ordering his LeBron jersey right now. So.
Group C, Denmark and Tresh Iaska Mosh Bagash.
Danish Hearts feeling a little better today, hopefully, after the earlier game.
Quite the penalty shootout earlier. Moving down to Group D, Serbia and Red Owl.
And the goal differential in that group just immediately went down.
Yep, I believe in the World Cup qualifying stages that Serbia did not allow a single goal. So we'll see if that changes once the stakes increase a little bit. So that gives us the first half of the European teams. And so it gives us 4 more to go. So we might as well continue on here with that region. Going back up into Group A, Wales, or Gareth Bales with Rob Dice. Moving down into Group B, Russia and Zikri.
Ooh.
Group C, Poland and Gordo. So that leaves us with the last European team down in Group D, Germany and Dave. Okay. So any initial thoughts here, you can, as we finish up the European region?
Shuda definitely is going to have his hands full, and whoever else lands in Group B. Dave and Red in Group D. That's another area where familiar foes are going to be lining up. Group A with the 2 newcomers definitely is interesting. Group C, you have Tresh and Gordau, who I think are very on equal playing field. So I think that'll be also an interesting group to watch.
Yeah, I think there's some interesting parts in each and every group. I think Well, just looking at Germany's offense against that Serbian defense, I think that'll be interesting to see if they can kind of break through and perhaps get a goal there. Obviously, no one's going to want to be with Russia, the defending champs in Group B. So it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. I mean, they're still going to get one of those African teams in there. America's had some pretty good teams as well, so
yeah,
they go. And it was kind of interesting too. We actually had for qualifications Russia put into the European region for the first time as opposed to Africa, Asia. Any thoughts on that move there?
I mean, it was an interesting plot twist, but I think in the end it was the right thing to do.
Should also be interesting with only Germany and Italy, I believe, might be the only, and probably Portugal too, might all be 5 stars, or if they're not 5, they're pretty close to it. But those are definitely the most talented teams in the World Cup this time around. No Brazil or Argentina in the Americas group. So it should be interesting with those 3 teams. If those managers can get a few good games in, they can make good runs as well. All right, so let's. What do you think about moving on to the Americas region?
Yeah, might as well just get that out the way. Put the gun.
Let's move on to the Americas then. Group A. Entering the group with Wales and Italy, we have Uruguay and UCAN. Any quick thoughts on that one?
The PayPal transfer really paid through.
For Group B, we have Peru and the Everbro.
Oh.
Group C, Mexico, Uberger. And that leaves us with one last America's team for Group D, Chile and Arschweb. It's kind of interesting seeing how some of those American teams come out. Obviously, that Peru game is already looking a little interesting in Group B. And we have a World Cup finalist from a few years ago in Group D with Arschweb, with Chile.
Group D, I mean, that's probably going to be the strongest from head to toe in terms of the owners. I mean, just how long they've been in the league, abilities. Again, the goal differential is really going to go down with the red being in that group. Dave and Schwab do have very high attacking firepower, each of their respective teams. So it'll be interesting to see how each of them come out as red in that group. And that's not even accounting who's the last team in there.
Which, right, is obviously going to be an Africa-Asia team, so that's going to not be an easy game as well. But I think even Group A, because Wales actually finished with the most points throughout qualifiers with 16 points. So, I mean, obviously, Uruguay and Italy, 2 pretty talented teams. And right, with Uruguay, you actually finished with the most points in the Americas region. So I think that's actually a pretty underrated region for how difficult Group A is going to be. I think Group B will get the headlines because of Zikri, but Group A, I think, definitely a pretty talented group. So we have our first interview. We have joining us here the manager of the Mexican national team. We have Uberger on the line.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome aboard. Well, good job qualifying for the World Cup. What do you think so far of 2 teams in your group, Poland and Denmark?
I'm definitely not going up against like the top teams from Europe. I've actually played Trash a few times in friendly, so that's nice because I haven't really cut my teeth against guys from A or B since I've joined TSL, so it's nice to see one person at least I'm familiar with, and I'm just glad to avoid Group B.
All right, now Uber, looking at your group, you have 2 teams, Poland, Denmark, who, based upon the player's stature, your team is immediately going to be at a disadvantage on set pieces. How do you expect to can try to defend those moving toward group stage? Do you have any particular maybe ideas on how you can maybe minimize those particular chances?
I think generally I'm just pretty good. I have like only picked up one yellow card in the 2 seasons I've been in there, so I don't really foul people a lot. So I feel like I can avoid set pieces pretty well, and I'm just going to try to do what I did in qualifying and use Mexico's speed to counter.
So, as I'm looking through some of the qualifying statistics here, how would you characterize your qualifying run? Because looking at it, you actually, with just a -2 goal differential, was actually the worst goal differential of anyone to qualify for the World Cup. So, how would you kind of qualifying run?
Oh man, I would consider it lucky, especially the last game of the simulcast against you, where I got one shot off and somehow it went in, and you got about 15 shots off. I think it was like 8 or 9 on target, and none went in. So I think I was kind of lucky, but at the same time, I think I channeled my inner red owl and was able to weather the storm goal wise, letting in goals. So I would count.
Let's not forget that game ended up a tie. So I mean, yes, I had all those shots, but nothing to show for it.
Oh, I was talking about my game against Broncos, the final simulcast game. I only got one shot on target.
Yeah. A 1-0 Mexico. Mm-hmm. And something about 2018 is just not the year for US. Don't know what it is. Just, not good. So we're going to have one more region here, Uberder. Is there any teams from that Africa-Asia region that you're looking to avoid or some you want to get placed with? Because most of those teams, talent on paper is not that great, but, it does have some of the best managers in the league.
Obviously, you want to avoid Iran or Korea, but I mean, I think they're all pretty good users. I can't think of who the fourth team is. I know Egypt's in there too, so I know there's 3 guys from the A League.
I believe it's Turkey also.
Mm-hmm. Turkey. So it's all A guys, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, at this point, just give me whoever and see how it goes. I'm not afraid to take someone on. I'll probably lose, but I'm not afraid.
Well, right. You made it farther than Nigeria did, so.
I'm still here.
All right. Well, Uberder, stay with us. We'll go ahead and do the Africa-Asia region, and then once we kind of got a full look at all the groups, perhaps we'll bring you back. Maybe get final input on who that 4th team in your group will be. So good having you around. But let's move on to the Africa-Asia region. Should be interesting to see how these 4 play out, see if there's any good matchups coming up. So beginning with Group A, we have Iran and Shifty.
Ooh.
Group B will give us Korea, CMAC.
Oh, group of death.
Down to Group C, Egypt and Hockey Jack. And that gives us the last team in the World Cup. Joining us in Group D, or joining Group D with Red Owl, Arsup, and Dave OK will be Turkey, managed by Tonke. So that gives us a full look at the World Cup, as you just mentioned, Bobby. Group B, probably the group of death. That's definitely going to be a tough one. Good luck to Shooter there. Any other thoughts, maybe even about your group or just some of these other that came out?
Group A, it's. I mean, I think we can all agree that it's going to be between myself, Seba, and Rob Dice to battle out for 2nd place there, and hopefully try to get into the next stage. Again, Group B, very tough. Godspeed, Shooter. And Group C is. I think that's going to be a little bit more wide open group. I think that's going to be the America's qualifying group in this stage. Group D, man, Turkey is going to play very similar to Serbia, and Tanky in his two CDMs are a monster in that midfield. So it's going to be if you can break down whoever is going to be the best to break down one Red's defensive prowess and then Tanky's midfield. I mean, that's going to be the one who's going to take that lead in that particular group. Again, you have two offensive-minded teams against two defensive-minded teams, so just a matter of what's going to break first.
And yeah, I think obviously Group B is going to be the toughest. I think Group A is, second toughest, but also kind of interesting too with the World Cup. It's going to be laid out where the winner of Group A plays runner-up of Group B, and then the winner of B plays runner-up of A. So in Group B, whichever two get by, I mean, right, even looking, for example, third way, if you get through Group A, I mean, you come right out, and in that quarterfinals, it's not going to be an easy game.
No.
I would definitely have to say Group C and D are kind of be the easier group. So it will be interesting. At least one of those teams should be able to make it pretty far just based on the rest of the teams in the group and then how it's going to lay out with who will play in the quarterfinals. So should all be for an interesting setup going forward. But let's get another manager in here for the Africa-Asia region. And joining us for that region is Korea's manager, CMAC. So welcome aboard.
I've been absolutely bamboozled once again. Don't know what I did to deserve this. Again. It really couldn't have been worse there, Bronk. I'm not sure it could have been worse. Obviously an incredibly tough group. You're looking at probably 3 of the top 5, 6 managers in the entire league in the group. I guess the one bright side of that is that none of us have the top tier teams. Shuda is gonna obviously, if he can steal a point from somebody, he's gonna change the complexion of everything. I think it's the clear group of death.
Just kind of looking at that group, and then obviously your qualifying group was very difficult as well. You had
thanks.
Deals didn't get through with Senegal. Hotspur just couldn't take it, just had to run away.
Yeah.
Would you actually say that this World Cup group is tougher than your qualifying group?
No. Let's not get carried away. But that qualifying group is. I don't know if you'll ever see a tougher group in any type of cup or.
Wait till next year.
Yeah, I know. Apparently, my PayPal is broken. Did you switch to Venmo and not tell me?
Right.
That's sort of what it feels like at the moment. But yeah, outside of our group, I mean, that is a group that obviously you're gonna look at Zick and myself as the favorites, but Everbro having, I think, maybe a more capable team than that. At least what I'm dealing with, I think, is definitely going to have at least a shot to get out of it. Shooter's in trouble. I mean, he has the most talented team, but if he gets a point, that's going to change everything, I think. Look at the other groups. Group A is really, really difficult. Obviously, Shifty is the favorite, and I would be stunned if he didn't get out of it. But any other of those 3 teams can definitely find themselves moving on. Group C is totally wide open. We could all pick 2 different teams to get out of that, and I think you'd have a chance at being right. I think the team that I would look for is Isaac and Hockey Jock. He's really good with that Egypt team. Uses the speed well, and obviously Salah is ridiculously difficult for any of these teams to handle, I think. I would peg him as the favorite in Group C. In Group D, again, that's another wide open one. I think you'll see probably Schwepp and Red maybe get out of it, but again, I think that's a group where any 2 of those teams could advance, and you wouldn't be surprised.
Looking at some of the teams in your group, just with Peru, Portugal, and Russia, and just thinking players on some of those teams. I mean, obviously Ronaldo's the best individual player, but any initial thoughts on just how you might, or even if you will kind of change around your team or formations or anything like that, kind of thinking about those 3 teams?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always play Zikri a little different than I play pretty much everybody else, with maybe the exception of Shifty. I play about the same, but I'll definitely have a more defensive setup in the Russia game. But the other two will be the same. I'm not too familiar with Peru's lineup in general. Take a look at it to see. It'll change how I treat my fullbacks. Whether I'm going to have them get more involved in the attack, which has been super helpful with Korea. I have a pretty big striker, and if those outside backs get forward, he can be pretty dangerous. So I'll play Russia differently, but the other two, you'll see the same Korea lineup you saw all through qualifying.
And you made the final last year, I believe, right?
Yeah, I lost the final to Russia with Sweden in the Fighting Zlatan Ibrahimoviches. Who
Well,
in qualifying I handled Russia pretty well, and then I did absolutely nothing in that final. Just absolutely got stomped. So
I mean, that means the next step is going to be winning the whole thing. So with Korea, at least compared to looking back at your Sweden team, do you think you can go a step further this time?
I actually think that Korea is a pretty well balanced FIFA team. In comparison to Sweden last year, Sweden had like higher ratings, but just things like speed, especially in the defense, is severely lacking on that Sweden team. And Korea has the things I look for in most FIFA teams. I mean, they got speed on the wing, a capable, bigger target man striker, and they have speed in defense. I think both their center backs are in the 70s speed. Have a right back who's in the high 80s. And then all their like wingers have 4-star skills, which again is obviously big for me. So I think Korea is a really well balanced team. So if I could make a run and get to a place where I could keep them in the future, if they're in the game, I would definitely do so. At least until Mr. Chung-Min Sun has to go on military duty and I lose him forever. But
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. We got any other questions, Bobby? Or
No, just definitely. Well, actually, Kobe. So, looking at the group, and obviously, you mentioned you are going to play a little bit differently against Zik and Russia. Pretty much play the same against the other two. What are you going to look at? Any type of different, maybe formations? I know you mentioned tactics, but would you potentially look at a different formation?
Against Russia, I will run a different formation than I will against the other two. I'm pretty familiar with just how Everbro plays. I mean, I've played him, dozens and dozens of times. So I mean, he knows what I'm gonna do. I know what he's gonna do. Shuda, I don't think I've probably played him at some point, but it's been maybe once in a cup somewhere. So I have no idea. That'll be something that'll be mid game if I were to change. But I'll come out with the same lineup you saw all of qualifying to at least start that match. But I'm certainly not afraid to change mid match, whether formation or tactics, depending on how things are going. But we'll see how it goes. I think you'll see me be more offensive, especially with the fullbacks, at least against Portugal, and probably Peru. Than I will be against Zik in Russia. And I usually tend to drop an extra CDM against Zik, but I don't really have capable players to do that with this Korea team. So it'll probably be more of a tactic switch instead of a formation shift.
all right.
Well, you probably should start scheduling that Portugal game now.
Nah. I just got to make sure I have Discord open and the PSN app open at all times, and just hope I figure out which one he's plugged into at that given moment. But we'll make it work.
I will stick around, Colby. We'll come back in just a little bit for your predictions and just these groups and maybe get a final there.
Sounds good.
But until then, perhaps a few more questions for you, Bobby. Right, you kind of talked a little bit about your group. Your first game is going to be against Iran. So just looking at that game and then how that kind of sets up for the rest of your group, are you just looking for just a single point in that one, or what's your kind of mindset going into that?
In going up against a group leader, I mean, you're probably just going to be looking at just getting some type of result. I mean, hopeful at best to get 1 point. I mean, obviously, if you can get 3, that's going to be best case scenario. But getting a point would be best case scenario, and then trying to shift focus at recouping whatever points you miss in the other against the other 2 opponents. Which again, it's not going to be. I mean, Wales and Italy, definitely a very capable teams and capable lineups that are going to be thrown out by both managers.
Yeah, and like I said, Wales actually finished with the most points throughout qualifiers with 16. Gareth Bale had 5 goals, so yeah, I don't think it's any team to sleep on, but also kind of looking at it, I have a hard time seeing, just kind of thinking about how the World Cup might shape up as we enter the knockout stages. I have a hard time seeing really anyone from Group C or Group D making the finals. I think it's just going to be all about Group A and Group B here.
Yeah, I mean, Group C and D, and again, as Colby said earlier, I mean, both groups seem very wide open. I mean, any one of those managers seems like if they get on a hot streak, they're going to be able to put together a run and make the final. But yeah, I mean, eventually, I think we all are looking at the eventual winner coming out of those top 2 groups.
Well, let's just before we get into some predictions here, let's bring back in Michael Uberder one more time. See if we can get a look now that he knows who that 4th team is in his group, with it being Egypt instead of, basically Korea or Iran. Let's kind of get his last input. So, Uberder, welcome back in here. What do you kind of think of Egypt being that 4th team in your group?
I love it. I love that you got Korea and Iran out of the way, so that way I wasn't sitting there just dreading who that 4th team's going to be. I didn't PayPal this time, so I really lucked out there. So maybe next year, if I get to this point, I'll go ahead and put that payment in so that way I don't have to worry. But I think I may have the best team in this group. If not, it's really close. So I'm excited to know that a lack of team skill is not going to bring me down here.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Mexico on paper probably is the most talented of the teams. I mean, you could obviously make cases for, I think, Poland and Denmark, but yeah, Mexico obviously has a roster.
Based on ratings, Mexico is the highest rated team in that group. I believe they're at a 4.5 star.
Yeah, they are. I am working on some red arrows right now thanks to that Sweden massacre in real life.
Well, wait one more day and then there'll probably be even more red arrows. So, yeah. But looking kind of forward a little bit, maybe even some of these Group D teams, if you do get through. I mean, do you think you'd have a chance to make a deep run?
I don't know about a deep run. I might be able to win my first game if I somehow get through the group stage. I don't see anyone that I think will just completely obliterate me. Let me put it that way.
All right, yeah. I mean, I think that's a good point. And right, even if you get through, you're not going to have to face anyone from Group A or Group B until the semifinals. And that deep, who knows what can happen. So what kind of...
All right,
go ahead.
I'm gonna go with we'll do it later. We'll do kind of we'll go around each table. Each one of us will do a bold prediction. I'm gonna do mine right now. Turkey makes the Final 4.
I know I can see that. I think it's a good bold pick, but yeah, I can definitely see Turkey making a deep run. I think I think he's pretty underrated. I mean, he at the end of the League A season last year did come out with some big wins to avoid relegation, and yeah, I mean Turkey's not a bad team, so I could definitely see that happening. I think if I had to kind of make my bold pick, and Uber will come back in a little bit, get some of your final predictions. But yeah, I think if I had to do some bold pick, I'm really liking Egypt. I think Hockey Jack had some pretty good seasons this past cycle, and I mean, even though he wasn't in the tougher of the Africa Asia regions, I mean, he still got through what was still not an easy group, and I think Egypt, is not too much worse on paper than some of those other teams. I think Egypt could make a pretty good run, and even if he gets to the semifinals, I could even see him upsetting one of the top teams. So if I had to do a bold pick, I think that's who I would select for this go around. Um, what's one of the teams that you would say that you're perhaps most interested in just seeing how they do in this World Cup?
What was that?
What's one of the teams that you'd say you're most interested in seeing how they perform?
Um, I'm interested to see how in my group how Italy does, because they have the talent, and obviously, I mean they've put a nice run together to get into the group, but can they continue that success? Group B will be can Everbro steal any points from Zick and Kobe? Group C, it'll be interesting to see if Mexico is able to rectify their scoring issues. If that's the case, I mean that's a team that could also go on a run. And then Group D, looking at again, I've already with my Turkey pick. Um, can Serbia generate enough offense? We know they're going to have the defense, but can they generate enough offense moving forward? So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'd actually say I think the team I'm probably most forward to kind of seeing how they do just about the World Cup is going to be that Serbia team. Just because, right, they didn't allow a single goal throughout qualifiers, but I also don't think they were in the toughest group. Um, I think Chile is going to be kind of a tough team in that group. It's kind of team I'm liking just looking at it at first, but I think that Serbia team is just going to be interesting to see how they do. I could easily see them getting first. I could see them getting fourth in that group. I think it's just going to be interesting to see how that defense holds up against the German attack and then just some of the better players in that group. So looking forward to seeing how Serbia is going to play out in this upcoming World Cup. Well, you want to move on to predictions here, or you got anything else you want to add before we get to that?
No. I mean, Colby, do you have any team that you're maybe interested in looking at and see how they do?
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked at all, depending on the draw, to see, like you guys have both mentioned, Egypt make a really good run, and also Chile. I mean, Ryan had a really good run with Wales, I believe. The last cycle before.
Which you didn't pick.
I did not. Never forget. Thank you for that. Really sore subject. But yeah, I mean, out of those bottom two groups, I really think you could see Ryan and Isaac both challenging to maybe get to a final, depending on how the things shape out. In the top half, I mean, the biggest intrigue is if myself or Zikri don't find ourselves getting out of the group because of Everbro. That's the biggest talking point on that half, at least in my opinion.
So, Colby, kind of looking through these groups then, who are your two teams that you have going through the knockout stage, going down each group?
In Group A, I would take Iran and Uruguay. In Group B, I'll pick myself and Russia. C, that's tough. I'll take Mexico and Egypt. In D, I will take Chile and oh man. Just because he beat me at the end of last season, I'll take Turkey and Tonka.
All right. And then who would you pick in your World Cup final?
Is it top half versus bottom half? Is that how it works? Each side?
Well, it's gonna be
A versus B, and then C, D.
right. So you're gonna get like if you advance, you're gonna get a team in Group A in
Yeah.
the quarterfinals. But then that means semifinals, you'd be actually playing someone from Group C or Group D. And
Gotcha.
then the finals really could be anybody. It could be
Gotcha.
group.
My World Cup final would be Russia, and I would say Iran. I mean, I'll pick Zikri to win it again with Russia. He knows that team well. It's a pretty strong FIFA team, and just against some of the other top users you would expect. He just has, I think, the team advantage and the knowledge advantage of having Russia for 2 cycles now, and he's obviously very good. So I'll take Russia to win the World Cup.
All right. Well, that's 1 vote for Russia. What about you, Bobby? What are you kind of your predictions going down, and who you have in the final?
I mean, I am also going to look at Shifty, and obviously, I think I'm going to get out of the group. I'm pretty hopeful of that. I think again, Russia and Korea get out of Group B. In C, Egypt, and I'm actually going to have to go with Denmark getting out of that one. And in D, I'm going to go with Turkey and Chile.
What was that last one? I think Bobby might have cut out right there. So we'll come back to him in a little bit. Let's get are you still around there, Bobby?
Yeah, I'm here.
So what was that kind of last pick there?
Would go with Chile and Turkey.
Gotcha. Who you have winning it all?
I'm gonna go with Korea. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think Russia and Korea, I feel like are sort of the and Iran are kind of the favorites, just because they do have the pedigree of being pretty successful in the past. So let's get Uberder's picks in here, the Mexico manager. So, Uberder, who do you have advancing to the knockout stages?
I'm going to take Iran and Uruguay at Group A, so nothing different there. Russia and Korea at a Group B. I'm going to take Egypt. Oh, I'm gonna pick Poland to come in second.
Going against yourself there?
Yeah, I don't feel dirty picking myself. So, Group D, I'm actually gonna pick Germany to win the group, and Serbia.
Oh.
The second. I think even with probably the massive amount of red arrows Germany has, that the team talent compared to everyone else in that group is going to be a big difference.
Gotcha. And then who do you have winning it all?
I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with Iran, Korea, or Russia, but I'm going to pick Iran just to be a little bit different than the other 2 answers so far.
All right. Well, I guess that leaves me with my predictions here. Starting at the top, yeah, I feel like Iran's got to go through, and I'm going to pick Italy for that second spot. I think the Italians are going to have some pretty good games there. Group B, I got to pick Russia and Korea. I would like to see Everbro make it to the next stage and get a little bit of run going, but I just think there's too much of a mountain to climb up there. Group C, I'd probably say I'm going to go with Egypt and Poland out of that group. And then Group D, I think I would take Chile, probably Turkey. I think it's kind of between Turkey and Serbia for me, but I think I'm going to go with Turkey and Chile. For my final, I'm picking Russia to win it all. But who they're going to play in that final, I feel like that's going to be a toss-up. I mean, I could see it being Iran. I could see it being Korea, but I think I'm going to go with a little bit an upset pick here. I'm going to have Russia winning it over Egypt in my final. So with that, I think that means I think Russia's the favorite here, but they are the defending champs. Any final thoughts, Bobby, before we close this out?
I think the final group is going to go down to the last day of qualification. I think no one's going to pull ahead from each other. I think it's going to come down to that last simulcast game, and it'll be fireworks till the end.
Should be a pretty good one. Unfortunately, this is the first time we will not have Broncos 218 in the World Cup, so I don't think it's gonna be as great as the past few ones, but it should be some good games. We'll see what happens. All right, well, thanks everyone for tuning in. Just kind of a few reminders for everybody participating in the World Cup here. Make sure to schedule your games in advance. So if you have your game scheduled, be sure to, I guess, post that in the chat. I don't know how we're going to do that without the GroupMe calendar. I guess we're going to have to migrate back over to GroupMe for the time being. But we'll see what happens. I'm sure Red will explain to us how that's going to kind of be kept up to date. But make sure to schedule those.
You can pin a topic.
Yeah, what's that?
Red will show us.
Yeah, we have the reminder bot set up now. We'll figure something out.
Right. So make sure to schedule a day in advance. Games can be played beginning tomorrow. So if you want to set up a game, go ahead. Only your first 2 games are going to be open. Third game, we're going to try to see if we can get simulcast going there. So first 2 you can play. Hold off on that third one. And last note that the commish wanted to forward on to everyone is just for your results, he'd like everyone just go ahead and post a result in that testing thread to see what format they think is best so we can go ahead and figure all that out going forward. So results, at least for now, will be in the forums just as we have been working, but we'll be fully integrated into not using the forums with the next FIFA cycle. So I think that's it. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Bobby, for helping host here, and Colby, Michael, thanks for chiming in for some manager interviews. And I would say good luck to everyone in this World Cup. Hopefully we can get some good games going.
Good luck. Have fun.
All right. Catch everyone on the other side.